Well, it is Stephanie Evelo here with the Evelo team at Keller Realty, and it is an absolutely gorgeous day. Looking outside, gorgeous day, and we're so excited to be here and share some information with you. We know that the market is really starting to heat up, and so I'm excited to introduce to you two special guests today for our topic of Say No to FSBO. So would you like to introduce yourselves?
Sure, I'll
Sure.
go first.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I am Jenny, and I am one of the senior partners on the Evelo team, and I am an agent.
Awesome.
And I'm Kimberly. I'm an associate realtor partner on the Evelo team as well.
Awesome. Yes. Thank you so much for being here, ladies. And both of these ladies, well, it'll become obvious of why we've asked them both to be here and share their experiences. So let's start off. So just say no to FSBO. So right now, you know, the market is heating up and a lot of people are thinking of going out there and selling their home on their own. But what is the greatest challenge or greatest problem that you see that people face when they list their house for sale by owner?
So I would say two of the biggest challenges would be the limited audience. So right now, we are at a historical all-time low in inventory, but we still have so many buyers that can't find a home. So I think the biggest thing would be the limited audience, because as licensed realtors, we have all of our buyers and our many years of business with the Evelo team set up on searches with all of our database and people who are looking. So when you do for sale by owner, you don't have that exposure. So your audience is super limited. And then I would say the other big pitfall would definitely be locking in terms of purchase agreements that may come in, and that we are licensed realtors. We go to continuing education all year. We attend education classes all year and seminars and panels to do this job. So we are definitely the most skilled to do something like this, to sell a home. So
to negotiate for people. Okay, awesome.
To add to that, the less eyes you do have on the home, the more of a chance you're not going to get the best amount of money you possibly can for your house. And that's just because you're probably not going to wind up in a multiple offer situation. Prices won't escalate to higher than they possibly could because you have more people fighting for it. So obviously it just lowers the demand for your property. And there's no reason right now not to have that demand, because the market is so hot and because there's so many buyers that should be interested in your home. So that's another thing I've noticed. Everybody that has decided to list with a realtor, decided to list with me that was for sale by owner, sees a great change in the amount of activity and interest, and usually sells for a higher price than they expected.
Yeah, and Kimberly, you had an experience just here recently with someone that did list. So tell me about that. They were on the market for over 100 days, I think, on the market on their own.
I've had two recently, but one of them was on the market for a very long time, almost 100 days. And I spoke to him a few times, and we decided to list, or they decided to list, and we actually got them under contract for over, it was $10,000 over their list price. So they essentially made their money back on using a realtor. They received very helpful guidance through the process that they very much so would have needed for any possible hiccups that did arise, and we got them through it. And now we're just waiting on closing date, and everything went smoother than they probably could have ever anticipated, and they made more money.
And they were sitting on the market waiting for over 100 days and at a lesser price, and you actually got it sold for a higher price over asking and negotiated better terms. So
so it was a matter of just getting those eyes on it. And I visited the community actually last week, and one of the neighbors stopped me and said, I've never seen so many people waiting outside of a home to get into it and view it for a showing. It was incredible. They were like, I don't know how you did that. So obviously that's what happens when you use us.
Awesome. Fantastic. And great job on that one. And so in this hot market, I know that there's multiple offers. And so what can an experienced agent bring to the table with a multiple offer situation? If somebody's selling on their own, either representing the buyer to buy a for sale by owner or helping a for sale by owner sell, what does that look like with a realtor experience? What problems could someone who's trying to sell on their own possibly avoid by using an agent instead?
Yeah, so a big thing is that we're trained to search through all those terms, and we know how to translate all the terms in the contract. We also have access to a lot of forms, being licensed realtors, to protect our buyers and sellers, particularly our sellers, with things with COVID forms and liability forms. You know, a lot of sellers don't even have access to those forms, and an additional way that we can protect them. But we are trained to look through a lot of these offers. What I've seen a lot of is like puffing kind of offers. So they're going way over asking, not realistic price point, and then they're not locking in any of the terms that we are skilled to lock in those terms to protect the buyer later on, should the home not appraise, or some of the other terms, maybe being flexible with closing and things like that. So we definitely are trained to do that. But the biggest thing I think is the terms and looking at it, that we are trained and skilled to look through all these purchase agreements and these contracts, and a very small oversight by a seller could really be a huge expense down the road and a huge legal liability. So that's definitely a huge value that I also believe that we bring with our experience and being licensed to do this.
Mhm.
Awesome. And yeah, because I think that a lot of times people think it's just price, right? That it's only price that's being negotiated. And there's just so many other terms that are able to be negotiated as representing the seller and the seller's best interest. And so there's a lot of ways that agents are really bringing a lot of value to sellers, where they're getting appraisals waived, you know, inspections waived, and lots of different other languages that can be most useful to a seller in this hot market time, right? So what are some other things that a seller needs to consider or think about, in as far as like from financing or inspections and things like that? What are some other areas of concern or complications that they may run into in that area that an agent may be helpful?
So with financing, on the financing side, I mean, we have really strong relationships with lenders, local lenders in this community, where we can kind of sift through maybe some of the terms of the offers. We also call and we verify a lot of the terms of the purchase agreement with the lenders, and protecting our sellers that way also. So those relationships that we have in this professional real estate community are just so valuable. I mean, they're really priceless. So I think that's really important to know also. So yeah.
Awesome. Anything else, Kimberly?
Yeah, I would agree with that. And even if it's someone that we don't know very well, because of the huge network we have, we can, you know, reach out to anybody that we know and say, hey, have you worked with this person? Get to know them, make the phone call. I actually had a lender send me a video message back the other day when I was confirming with them on an offer. So we just have a lot of different ways to connect with the people on that back end to make sure it gets to the closing table smoothly, and mitigate everything we can with the help of this huge network that we have.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, and I have a situation where, yes, represented a seller in multiple offers. It was a cash offer, and believe it or not, the cash buyer walked away, and we were able to strongly represent the seller and actually retain the earnest money, and even on a cash offer. And yeah, so there's just lots of things that, had another agent not been involved, had we not been involved to represent our seller, they probably would have just let the buyer walk away and not tried to fight for and keep some of the earnest money. And so yeah, so they benefited there as well from
And Stephanie, I think that's a huge point to touch on, and something that we're seeing a lot of is buyer's remorse.
Absolutely.
So
It's a real thing.
While the demand is there, we're seeing a lot of buyer's remorse, and that is happening with some cash offers. It's also happening when people go way above asking and don't lock in terms and secure things, that we are seeing then those homes possibly going back on the market. And we are skilled as realtors to get you right back under contract, should be with these other offers, and handle this so you're not ultimately going back on and appearing on and off market, ultimately affecting your value. But another thing I wanted to touch on is that when you're working with us as a team, you not only have us trying to sell your home, but you have 17 other agents on our team trying to sell the home for you. Over 300 agents in our office who are also skilled, licensed professional people, ultimately, you know, making you more money. You know, I think it's 75% of for sale by owners you actually put yourself in risk of possible legal issues. So 75% of for sale by owners have that. So that's a huge part. And then with us too, we spend a lot of money in marketing for homes that people are already looking for your home in your area. Within that 10-mile radius is where we found people most usually move from, is within that 10-mile radius. And we have a way to pull in those leads of people who are already looking for your home. We have a whole team of people working those leads that come in to ultimately sell your home as well. So in addition to, it's much more convenient to you. You're not having to coordinate all these showings and you don't know who is in your house, how long. I mean, our lock boxes, all of that protect you as the seller to where we always know who's in your home. Are they licensed realtors? Your phone isn't blowing up with text messages from all kinds of people. So
And,
the list just
and
goes
that's
on
it.
and on.
And that's it, Jenny. I was just going to say, like, I can't even imagine selling my home on my own, because then I'm having every random person showing up to my door. And in today's day and age, you just can't trust that, right? Like, I mean, even putting your home on the market, you know, you've got a lockbox. It's reading every person who's entering. They're entering with a realtor. The realtor's got a code. It's all reading all the code, who exactly is entering and exiting and when they're coming and going. So yeah, there's just a lot of safety in that. And yeah, I just can't even imagine, right, letting anyone show up to your door these days in today's day and age. So
And that's what
yeah,
I've noticed with a lot of for sale by owners I've talked to. They say, oh, you know, the only people that show up, they aren't pre-qualified, they're not strongly vetted, they can't actually, you know, put their money where their mouth is. A lot of what I'm getting is just phone calls from realtors and things like that. And then the minute they do list, they're like, wow, all of a sudden everything I'm getting is a strong candidate, or for the most part it is. And obviously the amount of people I am getting have greatly increased. You know, you might get one or two people that are serious over the course of a few weeks, and if you list or use us, you'll get 20 people on the first day. And it's really incredible the difference that it makes, just because most buyers in this market, they have agents, they have that representation. So why would you not allow yourself to have some kind of representation and support as well? Because they're going to come out guns blazing too, trying to put their best foot forward. So you need to do the same thing. And I've never once had a for sale by owner that did decide to use me be disappointed whatsoever. They're all, you know, exceeded the expectations that we had set. They're super happy. They loved how seamless the process was with the showings and the handling of the offers and the pending to close period. So it could only, you know, go up from where you are. And what I hate to see though on Zillow and on for sale by owner pages is sometimes I go back and I check these, you know, a week or two after I found them. I have to dig to find that listing. It's like hidden in some way. It's like it's not being strongly promoted in the way that we do with all of our listings. So there's just so many hurdles and so many things that, you know, they just don't know, and it's not anybody's fault. They just don't know, and they haven't talked to the right person to explain all of this to them and to see that benefit.
Well, I know that you, Kimberly, had the one where they were listed and they thought they were being seen and shown and out there in a bunch of online, and then you couldn't find it. And so they, you know,
I was like, hey guys, did you take the listing down? I really thought that it was removed. It was that hard to find
their house. So yeah,
crazy.
and I think that's where people think that it's just out there and everybody's seeing it, and the reality is it's not. So yeah, well, but anything else that you all want to share? Go ahead. Sorry,
you mentioned a really good point before we started. The 81% of for sale by owners do list usually, because ultimately that's what you have to do to get the results you need in this market.
Well, and I think the results, I mean, really, when someone's wanting to sell for sale by owner, they're really just because they're wanting to save the commission, right? Most often they want to save the commission. And the reality is we can help them net more, because I think versus worrying about the commission, it's about actually the net, right? And because we're able to negotiate, and because our team has such strong results on our negotiating skills and what we're actually able to get them on a list to sales price ratio. I mean, we have one of the strongest in the entire city of Indianapolis, you know, as far as our team goes. And so the reality is we're able to net them more on the actual sale, even being included in the sale. And I think that's what's hard for them to see and understand, that because we get them and get the value and get the exposure and get multiple offers and much interest. So you have people bidding, you know, bidding wars on it. They're actually able to net more. So
oftentimes they completely recover our fee by doing that.
100%. 100%. Well, any last comments, anything else I haven't asked or anything else you'd like to share before we end?
You know where to call us and where to message us.
That was an easy one, right? Yeah, I just think there's a lot of complications that can happen through. I mean, I think there's like 140 some checklist items that our transaction coordinator goes through from the time, we list a property until it pens and then to closing. And so, at any point, any one of those can stop the transaction. And so, yeah, if someone is struggling right now, maybe to get their home sold, or maybe doesn't want to take that risk from a financial risk or security risk, right? That we'd love to help them however that looks. So,
and we
well,
have
great.
Various strategies about what we can do to help anybody that's considering it. We do all kinds of things. We can do open houses for you. Whatever you're interested in, we'll hear you out. We'll make a good plan that works for both parties, but particularly get you the best result.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Kimberly and Jenny, for being here. Thank you so much for sharing what you know and speaking from the heart. And, of course, we are in this hot market and we are anxiously looking for sellers because we have a laundry list of buyers that are waiting for just the right home, and they're looking and have not found it yet. So by all means, if anybody is considering making a move or looking to buy, either way, we'd love the opportunity to just chat with you, no obligations. Just give us a call. Here on the post, we'll share our email and phone number, but our email is info@eveloteam.com, or you can reach out to our team directly at 317-863-9011. And as always, remember, make each moment count. Thanks, ladies. Thanks. Bye-bye.